My favorite story is Lord of the Rings. I have to give you a little backstory first, so we'll start with The Hobbit. A ring is made by the evil overlord Sauron to control several other rings worn by the ringwraiths. This is bad and dangerous, and the ringwraiths threaten to destroy idyllic living arrangements in the Shire, where Bilbo and Frodo Baggins live along with Frodo's friends Sam Gamgee and Meriadoc Took. J.R.R. Tolkien belonged to a group of Oxford gentlemen called the Inklings, who wrote for pleasure and tried their work out on each other before submitting them for publication. Members included C.S. Lewis and Charles Dodgson, also known as Lewis Carroll. They read their tales out loud, evoking the oral tradition. In about 20 years, J.R.R. Tolkien's books were finally in print. It took that long for the publishing industry to catch up to him. A strange little creature, Gollum, has found the One Ring and is hoarding it deep in the caves. Bilbo is recruited by Gandalf the Grey, the magician, to serve as a burglar for a group of dwarves, whose mission is to regain the gold of their ancestors by fighting the dragon Smaug, who has stolen it. Actually, they don't quite fight him, they sort of sneak around him. While exploring the caves, Bilbo meets Gollum and wins the ring in a game of riddles. Eventually, Bilbo gives the ring to his nephew Frodo, who is charged with the duty of throwing it in a volcano to destroy it. The rest is a historiographic trilogy entitled The Lord of the Rings. The Fellowship of the Ring had to pass over the misty mountains, encountering grave snows, nourishing themselves only on elf cakes. It was a slow and arduous journey. I read Lord of the Rings when I was 12 years old and could not put it down. When I was 17, my mother and I packed all of our possessions and our cat into the car and took a road trip to Canada. During the worst snowstorm in 13 years, we made our way across the continent from Vancouver to Montreal, and I read The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings trilogy to her the whole way, sometimes by flashlight. It was a wonderful trip, and the books made it even more magical. I was inspired to write some of my best poetry during that journey. I have reread it so many times I cannot recall how many. This is why it's my favorite story. As technology advanced, the tales morphed into new versions of themselves. The Lord of the Rings started out as bound books, went to paperback, and then Peter Jackson obtained the rights from Christopher Royal Tolkien, J.R.R. Tolkien's son, and made a series of epic films from it. It has also appeared in cartoon form and quite often as Lego characters on YouTube. The industry had to advance to the point where the spectacular special effects were possible before the films could be properly made. With the film's introduction of the romance between Arwen and Aragorn, the storyline changed dramatically. In my opinion, something venerable was gained by changing the story to include love. J.R.R. Tolkien was extremely talented at adventure, but there was not a lot of love in the trilogy between men and women. Adding the romantic scenes gave meaning to the plot and fulfilled an audience need. There are also reams of fan art and writing, as well as interesting parodies such as Lego spoofs, mashups, and songs. The Fellowship loses touch with their mentor Gandalf the Grey, who falls embattled underground with the malevolent Balrog, but he eventually emerges transformed into Gandalf the White and rejoins them more powerful than ever. My favorite parts of the story are in the Elven realms. Here we see the Council of the Ring, where the wayfarers consult with elves to forge a plan to carry the ring to the volcano Mount Doom in Sauron's realm and drop it in. pathos is portrayed by the excellent actors in Jackson's rendition of the books. Here, Frodo is mourning the pending loss of the One Ring, which could make him invisible and had a terrible hold over him. I speculate that people from all over the world can enjoy Lord of the Rings. It was translated into Swedish, Russian, Dutch, and possibly other languages. The story contains adventure, magic, myth, romance, camaraderie, politics, peril, excitement, and humor, and these are all qualities enjoyed by readers and viewers universally. J.R.R. Tolkien was an artist as well as a writer, and he depicted his stories as paintings in a lush, primitive style, rich in imagination, with a fine and dynamic use of color. Eventually, after much danger, most of the Fellowship return victorious. Bilbo stays with the elves, and Frodo, Sam, and Merry return to their smeals, or hobbit holes, in the Shire, more seasoned, tested, and wiser hobbits, but still able to cut a good figure in a country dance.